This week, ogres are atheists, are the new bosses killable, what's coming from WV and more on Relics of Orr episode 102. Hello and welcome to episode 102 of Relics of Orr. I am Eric, aka Shongaqu, and this is a vidcast about Guild Wars, Guild Wars 2, and the Guild Wars community on the whole. This week we've got a whole bunch of news for you guys before I introduce my co-host, so I'm gonna burn through it really fast so that we don't have any dead air time, or me just staring at the camera. Oh, right. So, bringing with it a slew of AI improvements, the new Edge of the Mist map will be arriving with the next patch on February 4th. Yeah! The main goal of the new layer is the ability to experience world versus world, even if their server's main maps are full. It is built around floating islands based around 3 different biomes, the desert, the jungle, and Arctic sectors. Each feature a tower and keep, as well as secondary objectives that are unique to that sector. The matches will last around 6 hours or so, and the winning servers will get a supply drop in their Borderlands citadel. The recent revelation as well that Scarlet has found the Edge of the Mists will result in a new AI-led invasion that seeks to counter the server population imbalances that can occur. We also have 2 new items that have been added to the gem store this week. The new Infinite Mining Pick will set you back about $12.50 or 12.5 euros, depending on if you're in North America or EU. And it has begun drumming up some controversy because it adds the chance to gain sprockets when you're mining. Is this a move towards pay to win or a chance to fill your bank with more junk? But, in addition, there is a Mask of the Silent, which is new, and it allows you to wear some fierce new face paint into battle. It is $5, or 5 euros, depending on where you're at, and it is completely dyeable. It's 1 dye channel, and lots of different colors. Also, World XP boosters are on sale. In addition, Josh Davis, aka Grouch, popped into the World vs. World forums this week, and to let us know that the next episode of Ready Up, which is coming this Friday, will feature significant amounts of World vs. World discussion. In addition, you can head over to the official forums or relicsoforr.com, where we posted up the latest Dolyak Express. Bobby Stein, Jeff Grubb, and Scott Mago have answered questions about the living story, centaur, and atheistic ogres. Now, joining me this week to discuss a variety of topics, I have my usual co-conspirator from the frigid land of Wisconsin, the cheesehead herself, Kate. How are you doing this evening?
I'm slowly freezing to death, but thank you for making light of that fact. I didn't even have any cheese puns for you guys this week because I'm too cold.
Oh.
Good times.
Well, that's unfortunate. Also freezing to death in what is normally sunny Georgia. Evie, I hear that there is like an apocalypse level event going on there. What exactly is happening?
The state is in a state of emergency, apparently.
Can you
There's
even
no snow where I live, but we're in a state of emergency.
can you even like find food at this point? I hear that like roving bands of people have joined together.
No, but if you go to Walmart, they have no bread.
Oh, it's okay. We're
No!
prepared for this. I've seen The Walking Dead. We're
There's
good.
no bread.
It's practically like a snow emergency.
And see, that's the thing that people that you don't realize during like an actual event, what will happen, an actual apocalypse level event, what will happen is all of that food that people like go to supermarkets and get like in The Walking Dead because it got left behind, yeah, no, that's all gone in the first like 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
The man who will survive the apocalypse from incredibly warm and sunny
Pretty much.
Sunny.
Phoenix.
Yes, I mean,
It's beautiful, actually. Washed, how are you doing this week?
I am fantastic, although I'm afraid that my server will never kill any of the events right now.
Where are you at? Because NSP has been
Rock.
moderately successful-ish. That's unfortunate.
Is Anvil Rock all the way at the bottom now?
No, we actually moved up in our World v World ranking. We are like third or fourth from the bottom now.
I cheer for you guys every time I hear about Anvil Rock. I'm like, yeah, Wash lives there.
It's so sad. It's so sad. If it wasn't so expensive to get off of the server, I would be gone in a heartbeat.
Well, that's what you get
No
for
offense,
putting
Amarok.
yourself purposefully on a server that is between a rock and a hard place.
Ba-doom. No, you know what it was? Is that during during the beta process, it was the media's server. It was all for the journalists and everything like that. So it was really popular then.
And then everyone went home.
Everyone left.
They're like, I'm gonna go back to playing WoW because I do media, and that's what is lots of
Pretty
people
much.
play or something. I don't know. Hopefully not. Hopefully when they played like Ion or something, or like, I have made poor life choices. But we are going to bring an old section back this week that we have sort of let slide and not allowed to exist as much as it should, specifically pro tips. And this week, Kate is going to tell us how you fight the Marionette. So Kate, take it away. Tell us about the Marionette fight.
Alright, so if you're not familiar with the Marionette, it's in the middle section of Lornar's Pass on the east side of the zone. And when you get there, you will find 5 lanes. They are numbered 1 through 5 by players. They're not numbered in-game, but coordinating with players is such an important part of this fight that you really should know what they are called. Bottom lane at the south is 1. They're numbered clockwise around to the north, which is 5. Each lane has different kind of events going on there. All of them have a portal invasion moving towards the gate behind you, which you have to defend, but different stuff in between. So, for example, in lane 2, you're going to find 2 barriers, 2 siege golems, and a whole bunch of ballistas, whereas in lane 5, you're going to find a whole bunch of barriers, but no arrow carts or ballistas. So you have to pay attention to what's going on in your lane, make sure your siege stays up, and, you know, stop the things from getting in. Once these lanes will move into a second phase individually throughout the fight. So it starts with lane 1. Lane 1 goes up through the gate and is divided randomly into 5 different sections where you have to fight a boss. So you won't be with your party, you will be with randoms from your lane. Usually around 20 to 25 people, that's the ideal number for this, because if you have less, you're going to be struggling with the DPS to kill these bosses. Each boss has special mechanics, and I can't emphasize highly enough, this is what you're going to hear from commanders, by the way. I've been commanding this event. I've been having a lot of fun with that. Each boss has specialized mechanics that you have to pay attention to, otherwise, you know, your party will wipe on the platform and you will let your server down and they will cry at you in map chat. Boss number 1 is attack from behind only. Boss number 2, you want to kite it through the mines, otherwise you can't do damage to it. Boss number 3 throws bombs at you and does lots of damage. Hit it from range, it's scary. Boss number 4 puts AoE all over the platform. You're going to want to alternate between ranged and melee. Boss number 5 splits into tiny little versions of itself, which you have to kill over and over again until it's dead. Now, you get multiple attempts at these bosses. If you fail a boss, it progresses the failure meter by a quarter of the percentage or whatever. But you still have up to 4 chances. You can fail 4 times. If your lanes are perfect, it won't push it over, but if you let champions through the lanes and they're getting to the gates, it'll also progress the meter.
Yep.
Have I forgotten anything? I feel like I just gave my whole spiel.
When
That's basically
boss
it.
is defeated, the other platforms are buffed. That's
Yeah.
the only thing you missed.
You get Fury, Might, and Swiftness. I think it's like that, yeah.
And Vigor.
Vigor, too. Yeah, that's a good one.
The only other thing that I would add is that having the correct number of people in your lane is super important, especially like for the first boss, because if you get a platform all by yourself,
Oh.
you cannot complete it.
Oh,
You have to have a minimum of at least 2 people on that first boss.
I have pro tips within the pro tips. If you are a thief and you have Shadow Refuge, stealth your group before they go through the gate, because then they get in and they aren't attacked by the boss right away, and everyone's happy
that's a
with
good
you
idea.
being safe. If you're a ranger, be very careful about what your pet is doing, because especially if you get the boss number 2 with the mines, your pet will run over the mines and prevent your group from being able to do any damage to the boss. So don't do that. If you're struggling, drag your boss to the edge, and the groups next to you can help a little bit. They can't necessarily drop any attacks on them, but they can buff you. So, like, if there's a guardian on the platform next to you, use Empower if you know the platform next to you is struggling, or whatever you've got to help them out.
That's cool.
Within the pro tips.
Very cool. And so there you go. That is Fighting the Marionette. I've not actually defeated it yet. Have you been able to defeat it? You've defeated it, yes, Kate?
Yeah, I've done it, I think 3 times on Overflows, and once on NSP main, which was really fun because NSP has been so demoralized by the lack of numbers we've had turning out for various reasons. But yeah, it's been really fun. I've been failing more towards the end. I feel like less people are doing it now. So come do the Marionette. It's loads of fun. You'll get rewards no matter how well you do. And when you beat it, it is so satisfying. It's wonderful. Yes, go. Good. Do it.
Yes. Very cool. That's good to hear that people are clearing it. Which actually brings us to our first main topic to discuss tonight. Josh Foreman actually has been back on the forums again, to the terror and worry of all community managers ever, apparently. But he was discussing with people their goal with the difficulty and their goal to stretch players. I'm going to shoot you guys a link in chat. Live Spartan, I think, already linked it. Yes, Live Spartan already linked it. Actually, he linked a different one.
He linked the buffing one, but it's actually in the same. It's in the same.
It's on the same thread, but there you go. That is linked in chat, and what you have there is he discussed sort of his philosophy and the groups and the Living Story team's philosophy when they were designing the actual encounter. Washed, what exactly were they thinking about?
Well, basically, they had a set idea of where player skill currently is. I mean, obviously, you're going to have those players on the extreme side who are super, super skillful at the game, know the ins and outs of everything, you know, masters of their profession, all that. And then you have the players that they can push number 1, and that's all they can really know how to do. And what they wanted to do is hit that sweet spot of where, yeah, exactly, just like that. They wanted to hit that sweet spot where they knew players were at, where they're involved a little bit, you know, they've got a little bit of skill, but they wanted to hit that sweet spot so that they could actually stretch players into improving in their skills, which is something I don't think you really see a lot in other MMOs, where it's basically like, this is the difficulty, and if you can't do it, then get good, scrub. So they wanted it. It's not designed just for elite, hardcore only players. I mean, it's designed to test you and improve your skill, but it's not designed, you know, to only be completed by 1% of the population as well. Whereas Worms, on the other hand.
So Evie, how do you feel about the actual Marionette event? Do you feel like it is actually a stretching event, or do you feel that it's not working as well?
Well, it's certainly a stretching event. However, because of the nature of open world content, I think that it's missing its mark on what the developers want it to actually accomplish. Because it is so hard to coordinate with random people that you've basically never met and such, I could go on and on and on. People are less likely to try and push themselves and more just going to get frustrated with the situation in general. And when you have that many people, and this is coming from years of experience and rating and all this whatnot, it's very hard to pinpoint an issue with yourself with what's going wrong in the bigger picture.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally okay, did we fail this because we didn't have enough players? Did we fail this because people sucked? Did we fail this because X, Y, Z, Q, R, L?
So what you're saying is we need DPS meters.
No.
No,
What I'm saying is
No.
we need individual.
I'm saying we
player
need healing
accountability.
meters. Get it right.
Technically,
I-
DPS meters have all of that in them. Anyways,
One of my-
Originally, they didn't.
oh really? Madness. Kate,
I feel the old WoW player pointing at me. Anyway.
Yes,
I would really like the design to, or no, in a way it has too much individual accountability, because if one platform messes up, you've kind of screwed things up for everyone else, especially when it comes to the achievements. So if you're not familiar, if you haven't looked at the achievements yet, there are a set of 5 achievements, because each boss also has a special mechanic that you're being attacked by the marionette by. So for example, I'll use platform 1 has the high kick mechanic. There'll be AoE circles on the ground. The actual large marionette is trying to stomp you with her high heels
just awesome.
Into non-existence. And one of the achievements is for dodging, perfectly performing on your platform and dodging all of these attacks. Well, if you perfectly do this, avoid all the attacks, get your reactor down or whatever it's called behind you, but another platform doesn't get it, you're denied the achievement, which is absolutely terrible. You have to not only do it perfectly, but then complete the chain as well. So your achievements are tied to the ability of other players, which is not okay, in my opinion. Those achievements should trigger when you kill the power reactor without getting hit. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead. One thing that they're mentioning in chat is that they're looking at. There is some level where they are teaching people to function like a large raid, essentially, except instead of it being based on, oh, I joined this guild, it's this server is now my raid team. Wash, does that seem to be working for you, or are you running into other issues with that?
Well, the issues that we're running into is just we don't have nearly enough players. The first day or two that it was out, there was actually a good amount of communication, even just in general map chat, with various commanders talking, okay, we need this many in this lane, okay, this lane, call in, how many people do you have, do you need more? I mean, at first there was really a good amount of communication, but as the events have progressed, there's less and less players showing up, which means less and less commanders around to lead, and so it's just kind of snowballed into basically, at least for us on Anvil Rock, if we want to complete it, we've got to go to another server.
Mm-hmm. And it's similar on NSP, where we've got a higher population than Anvil Rock. We've got enough people to do this, but we have this mindset of, NSP hasn't been able to complete these events, so we're gonna go hop to another server and do it. And you get these huge queues for servers like Tarnished Coast and Jadephoria and Blackgate that have a decent server population that can handle it. And then NSP main will be empty when I know we can do it. We've done it on NSP main. It's just, getting together the people to actually go do it. So it's kind of a double-edged sword where, if you're on a bad server, you can guest and go to a new one, but you're also kind of the reason your server might not be able to do it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That also comes into part of the problem of the server populations aren't actually what they show on the world selection menu.
And I believe
and
that
I will say this.
Yeah, Evie, go ahead.
I guessed over to Tarnished Coast because they have their own Mumble server or TeamSpeak server, excuse me, and I feel much more comfortable being able to communicate with voice chat over people trying to coordinate something like that than over text chat. That's why I guessed over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Plus, our friends from Chronicles of Tyria are over there, so props to you guys. Now, one thing that they mentioned in chat is issues with one troll being able to actually completely destroy your ability to play the game, I believe, or actually to play these events. Kate, you ran into that a little bit.
Yeah,
What exactly
there's a
happened with
guy-
that?
There was a
Sort of
guy who called
quick
MSP
summary.
his home server, unfortunately, and his mission was to steal our golems, destroy them, and then slowly deplete the number of hammers in each lane, until we actually couldn't keep the siege up, and then thus couldn't complete the fight. So, trolls happen, bad people happen, whatever, we'll deal with it. But the problem we had was not that there was a troll, it was that we couldn't get rid of him. There's no option, actually, in-game to report a person for griefing. Your only options are verbal abuse, spamming, gold selling, or other stuff that's...
Botting.
Botting. Stuff
And
that's not
exploiting,
really
yeah.
relevant to what was happening. So we would report him for verbal abuse, and then be told, submit a support ticket with screenshots. So that happened as well. We did that. Several members got back automated responses that we had submitted it for the wrong category, because if you submit a support ticket online, there's also similarly no option to report for griefing. So we filed it under World versus World something. Anyway, but they looked at it and sent us automated responses that, we can't do anything about this. So then this individual, if you're on the forums, you may know him, went to the forums and started spouting off his nonsense there. And people who called him out for griefing on the forums were told they're in breach of terms of service because they're not allowed to talk about griefing and cheating on the forums. And the dev post that said that said to submit an in-game support ticket. So you see we've got this circle, we've gone full circle back to things that are not effective in removing people who are actively being a nuisance to other players in the game. So that is something that ArenaNet really needs to address, especially if they're going to continue to do the open world content. He is gone now, thankfully, from our server. Server morale is much improved. We beat it the very first attempt. He wasn't there, and I hope he never finds that out. But it was so fantastic.
I hope he
Everyone
does
was like,
find that out, because he can realize that, you know what? You apparently were terrible at this game.
Ooh.
That's right. We said it to you, troll. You are bad at Guild Wars 2.
Well, from
Anyways.
what I understand, it was I couldn't complete it in the first couple attempts, therefore I'm just going to troll it. And with this type of content, that's not how this is designed. There's a learning curve involved with this.
Yeah.
So
He also cited what was it? He said he was punishing us for ArenaNet's decision to not include solo content in the game. So
MMO?
mature individuals we have
Yeah,
in our server.
well.
But he's gone now, so
Victory. He got
happy.
Go ahead, Evie.
I just want to point out, though, with the whole reporting griefing situation, the game in itself has very little opportunity to allow griefing to actually happen.
that's true.
Yeah.
So, this is probably, if not the first time, one of the first times this has ever become an issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's happened in World versus World before. There would be people dropping siege on supply depots. So you would have a half-built siege, and you could only build it. I don't know. But there have been griefing incidents, and it's...
But you can submit a ticket for World v. World.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, as we get more complex events, I suspect we will probably start seeing some higher level of this griefing. Because, that's what some people enjoy doing in games, is making other people's lives more difficult. So, the good news is, as this gets more visibility, we will probably see a more robust tool set show up. Which, cross fingers, hopefully it'll show up after the Marionette and people say, we need to fix this. But, continuing with our somewhat negative point of view on life and the world in general, welcome to the Grumpy Podcast. We are going to talk about Sprocketgate. Kate, what exactly is Sprocketgate?
Alright, well, we mentioned before there's a new item out on the gem store called the Clockwork Pick. And you would think, or at least I assumed when I saw it, it was just like the previous Infinite tools. It just had a different skin. However, that's not the case. When you use the clockwork pick, you can actually get watchwork sprockets from mining nodes randomly out in the world. Which is... the implications there are many.
Why? Like...
Usually I'm one to be like the grumpy one, but I think this is less of a why did they do it and more of a why not, because it's just watchwork sprockets. Who cares about them?
It's not the sprockets that I'm annoyed by. It's the fact that we've seen this continual trend towards functionality on the trading post, which I'm not okay with. It started with the trait resets, and then it moved on to the upgrade extractors, which isn't available in game, and now we're seeing the clockwork pick that allows you to get the watchwork sprockets. And yeah, it's not only is it a functionality, and a supply issue, because currently there are two ways, well, kind of three ways to get watchwork sprockets. You've been participating in the watchwork content, you've been playing it, and you've got the node in your home instance, whatever. B, the clockwork pick. We've lost Stevie. Oh no. Yeah, so that's one way to get it. And then third, the trading post. But with the Scarlet's arc is going to eventually come to an end, but these items are still going to be used in recipes. They're used on 3 major condition damage sigils and 3 major condition damage runes. So they will continue to be a part of the game. They're not just going to go away. So then the supply comes down to people who had been at the event and people who have this pick, which is strange and not entirely okay with me.
Am I back now, or?
You are
Yeah,
back.
you're back.
Okay. It's the snow. It's the snow. It doesn't exist where I am, but it's the
Snowpocalypse,
snow.
Georgia.
Yeah, I don't know. It's another example of them just adding stuff that shouldn't even be there. I mean, what if I were able to get lodestones from the Molten Alliance pickaxe? I mean, it's something that shouldn't be there.
I understand what they're trying to do, I think, and that if you have a molten pick, there's no real reason for you to want to buy another one. So as they release more things, they're going to have to incentivize people to buy them, because it is 1,000 gems. That's like, what was it, 11, 12 bucks?
It's $12.50.
$12.50, jeez. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
fine, man,
too much
okay.
money too.
So they are going to, if they
IMO.
want to keep it at their price, they are going to have to incentivize it, but this isn't the way to do it. ArenaNet, please. Please, no functionality. Cosmetics and convenience, that's what you could sell in the gem store without causing a riot, mostly.
Well, it makes me wonder, though, if the original permanent picks and stuff were so popular that the majority of the player base actually did purchase them, where if they do release more and more, then nobody needs to buy them if there's not an extra incentive.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, does everybody
I
here
still haven't
own?
bought one.
No, not Evie. Okay.
I refuse. They're way too expensive for me. I'm a college.
Well, now at the $10 price point, I bought them.
I thought about it at the $10 price point, I'll admit, but I didn't.
At a $10 price point, I would buy it if I could make one for each of my characters on my account.
Yeah,
That's when I would buy
that
it.
just makes sense because it's
You
$10.
kinda can. But I mean, you just have to throw it in your bank and then hop over. It's
That's
not that big of a
inconvenient.
deal.
Yeah, that's, to be honest, with like, look at what you could get for $10 in Guild Wars 1. You could get a full costume and put it on all of your characters. You could get all of these things, and it was all just like all of your characters. I like the 3 tools. I have all 3. And yes, I don't, and I like the fact that it is now account bound and I can move it between characters. I appreciate that. That said, yeah, if they made the skins, sold them for like $5 or something. I apologize to everyone. We've apparently frozen, but we'll survive. If we could do that, sell them. It could, like, for $5, then you could get different skins and stuff, and that might be better. I just don't. Evie got
$10
attacked by
is
the mob again, apparently. $10, I
Yeah.
think, if you pay $10 and you get it on all of your characters, and then if you want different skins, you pay like $4, $5 for a skin, and then you can
I'd be
apply
down for
that
that.
to a specific character. I like that idea. Welcome
Yeah.
back, Evie.
Well, and the other thing that really bothers me with the $12.50 price point is I can't buy $12.50 worth of gems. I can buy $10 worth of gems, or I can buy $20 worth of gems. So I'm either stuck converting some of my in-game gold to gems, which I know for some people is not a big deal, but for me, I mean, I'm sitting on like 70 gold right now. So that's a lot for me to convert. Or I have to spend $20, in which case I've got this leftover gem stuff to do what?
What?
Wait around for the next time they release some weirdly priced thing? Eh.
Buy some gold because you apparently don't have any.
Pretty much.
Oh, well, we'll see how it develops. They'll implement it the way that we're asking for. Who knows, though? But before Evie's internet gets completely eaten by the undead horde in Atlanta, okay, he's in Georgia, clearly Walking Dead, this is a thing.
Clearly.
We're going to talk about Edge of the Mists a little bit more. I did a very fast synopsis at the beginning of the show, and I have not actually been able to spend any time, even though our guild actually, I think, got into the open beta. So, Kate, you have spent probably the most time of any of us in it. What's it like? Tell us about it. Tell us a story about Edge of the Mists.
So what you'll see when you load in is a zone divided in 3, like many other World versus World maps. But each area is distinctly themed. There's a desert area, an Arctic area, and a jungle area. And each has special mechanics. Each has events that we've never seen before. I'm very passionate about this map. I didn't get to play it a lot in beta, unfortunately, because I was very busy. But I'm really excited about the implications on live because it plays very much like an elite PvE map with some PvE elements. And you can tell by seeing these bosses that Arenanet has learned about mob design. They've learned about zone design. They've learned about event design, what makes interesting and good events, and has implemented them. And I'm so excited about the implications of that on PvE, but also Edge of the Mists, because I have enjoyed World versus World, but PvP isn't my strong suit, so I kind of enjoy the less PvP elements of World versus World, if that makes sense. I'm looking forward to it. There was some great boss fights, some really interesting events. The enemy AI is insane. It will kick your butt if you're only used to doing, dungeons and open world stuff. Well, watch out for that AI. It will chase you down and it'll make you hurt.
Nice.
I'm
That's
trying to
good,
think.
though.
What's your favorite
The,
AI that you've fought?
The one that stands out to me was there was a griffin in one of the towers that had a mechanic where it would fly over you, but then it would swoop down, and there was this very visual tell for it. And when it was swooping, it could be CC'd, so you had to CC it while it was swooping to make it vulnerable, and it would drop to the ground, and you could do damage, and then it would fight you off, knock you back, and start flying again. So you had to, time the defiance. There was a reward for crowd controlling it. There was a reward for DPSing it. There was reward for, supporting your teammates through it, and it really brought in the Trinity, which we haven't seen, unfortunately, since launch. So, yeah. There was another one I fought, too. Screenager from Afterlife Legion tried to kill me with a worm that threw tornadoes at you.
That sounds
I forgot.
amazing. This is why we
it
play
was
video
great.
games, folks, because a friend of
To grief
hers
your teammates.
tried to kill her with a worm that throws tornadoes.
It was fantastic. I can't wait to get it.
That's amazing.
When we get in on live, I'm gonna take Relics on a tour through the place, and we're gonna accidentally find our way to the worms, and I don't know who will go off the edge, but it'll be fun. That's
Did
another
you
thing
fight the
about this map.
Norn?
No, the week I was playing really heavily, we were the Arctic side, so
Okay.
we didn't really fight our own things. Yeah.
Interesting.
Dispelling myths. There are not a lot of new assets in this map, which I have heard, but it's a lot of reused stuff and recolored stuff. So, like, people were saying there was a lot of new stuff in the desert, but it's the towers they were citing as being new were actually the old Lion's Arch lighthouse recolored.
Before it got blown up.
Yeah, before it got blown up. So that was a month into the game, so I understand it.
Yeah.
The other thing was, the terrain is very much Maguma, but recolored to look like Crystal Desert. Doesn't make it any less pretty. It's an absolutely gorgeous map, I have to say, and it's very vertical. So while you've got the 3 areas up here, there's a whole other level under it with merging bridges and stuff to run on, but they're very small and narrow and easy to fall off. So
or knock players off of.
Yeah, watch out for players. They will be mean to you, I presume. We didn't see there were a couple fights, but it was a lot of PvE because there just wasn't a lot of players on at the time I was playing. I'm excited to see it populated by players because it's going to be good fun.
Do you think it will be guild friendly?
Absolutely.
Not any more than World vs. World is now.
I'd say even more so because you can pop into it whenever you want. And as far as like the larger servers go, there's always that risk of, there's the queue time now isn't really there.
Well, there's still
It's
queue
just a
for
matter
the
of finding
regular servers. Yeah. You will be able to transfer to overflows. That's the thing, though, because it does function as an overflow. You should be able to join your guild as opposed to, like, people getting left out of the queue. So yeah, I guess it is fairly guild friendly, but in terms of tactics or whatever, it's not any, guilds aren't going to play a huge role. You're not going to see that guild and be like, oh yeah, they take that one tower really well, go guild. It's just like other World versus World in terms of that. But it is not just like World versus World in terms of map flow. Like I said, it's very PvE like. It's not PvE, it's PvEVP, but it does have a lot of PvE elements, and I highly encourage you, if you have gone into World vs. World, and you said, this isn't really for me, go back again and just check it out, spend some time in there, do the meta achievement. It plays a lot differently, and I think you'll like it more, probably. I don't know.
It serves as a really good transition between PvE and World v. World.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Nice.
That is excellent. So, will we see... I had a question there. It's gone. Flew off into the ether, dispersed...
Will we see something? Oh, I thought of another thing I want to say. I have so many things I want to say, but they're all floating around in my brain, so they can come to me every once in a while.
Well, see, I released my idea, and yours returned to you.
Yeah, excellent.
Maybe I was holding your idea.
I saw a lot of discussion about the Aether Blades. If you've seen the video trailer there today,
Awesome.
it shows Aether Blades when people are going, oh no, Scarlet's minions are going to get in there and it's going to be a problem. Like,
Aether Blades are
World vs.
amazing,
World.
though, as far as, like, AI characters.
Yeah, but if you're a World versus World player, you know that they've littered in events from the living story, and it wasn't that well received by anyone because it was really annoying. They would like camp the Dolyak paths and just get in the way, and they weren't interesting at all. They were just really annoying events. It's not like that. The Aether Blades are built into the desert part of the zone, so don't worry about Scarlet's living story influence mucking things up.
No,
I highly
designed
suspect this.
that way.
Yeah, I highly suspect the story content is just going to be a lore rationalization for why a third of that zone is Aether Blades, but
I've heard though that there is a significant issue that they will possibly be using the Aether Blades to counter the imbalances of servers and her invasions. Is that mostly just rampant speculation?
I can't confirm or deny that. I have no idea.
Okay, so rampant speculation. It would be amazing then. I totally read it like it was real in my opening post. So the rampant speculation is possibly that she will be dropping off Toxic Alliance and characters to actually attack dominating factions, which could be amazing.
That wouldn't be out of line with the World vs. World development servers, especially when you consider the breakout events that are on Borderlands, and
Yeah.
I don't know if they're on not Heart of the Mist, the Eternal Battlegrounds. That's the one. I know what it looks like. Yeah, there are breakout events. So if you're failing, the commanders will pop up, and you can move to them, and they will help you recapture towers. That's not unlikely, I will say, but that is entirely a possibility.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I know Indo was pretty against it when he was on the show 6 months ago. Holy smokes, it's been a while. He was pretty against that concept, so it'll be interesting to see if they do pursue that or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's just one of those other harassing... Sorry, go ahead, Edie.
I was say for the large part, the players that are very heavily into the PvP side of the PvP that is World v. World are not going to like it.
Because it's throwing PvE into their PvP.
I can tell you, as someone that played GVG, Hall of Heroes, and whatnot, that has a little bit of PvE aspect to it. Whenever they would introduce something that put more emphasis on the PvE side of it, I did not like it because I was there to fight other players.
It'll be...
However, because of the way servers are, it would be a great way to introduce a little bit more of a balance to the different matchups.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be... If they were ever to add, like, AI NPCs as a counterbalance to, like, Nightcappers, do you think that that would be something that they would enable during season play, or do you think that they would disable it during season play?
Oh, jeez, I have no idea.
I think at first we wouldn't see it during the season, but once the bugs, quote, quote, are worked out and it's a definitive mechanic that is in World v. World and people can expect it, we'll see it.
Yeah.
If it exists.
I feel like
Right.
people will say that AI is carrying other people. During season, your rewards shouldn't be based. Well, I don't know why I took your rewards, but you know, I guess that's what it comes down to overall. Your server places, and then you get rewards. They shouldn't be based on how your server places. They should be based on your player contribution to the server, because there's other reasons besides World versus World that you're on a server. I won't ever leave NSP because we've got our guild foundation here, our bank is here. The way servers are structured, I can't leave NSP with a clear conscience, even if I want a World versus World somewhere else.
We
So I
would
wish
be
they'd acknowledge
extremely
that.
angry and sad.
Yeah. As a guild leader, you can't just up and leave your guild and be like, hey, I'm gonna go World versus World somewhere where I can't help you guys with anything you do. So
Kate
yeah,
out, drops mic.
Since it is tied to other aspects, I wish they would acknowledge it and you know, reward based on player contribution to the server. If you're up there, if you're organizing, if you're in there all the time and you're showing those other players who's boss, I don't know who you guys fight. We fight like Crystal Desert and Isle of Janthair. If you're showing Isle of Janthair who's boss, then you know you should get rewarded better for it. It shouldn't be how your server places.
I think a good compromise would be to have a set reward that's based on player contribution and have another one that is based on how a server places that is given to everyone on the server.
Done,
that
yes,
participated.
cosmetic.
Like a, hey, we won back piece. Maybe like a cape once they figure out how to actually render that on Char.
No
Or
capes.
maybe
No capes.
no capes. I've seen The
capes.
Incredibles. I know we can't do capes.
No capes.
No capes.
So when we
No
get
capes.
capes, to write,
Or you know, like
There's
a
already
permanent
enough butt
Zodiac
capes. We don't need
finisher.
actual capes, too.
man,
There's so
the
many
butt
issues
capes are just
flipping
making...
and-
The butt capes are there because they want to make capes, but they can't, so they keep making these butt capes. If you give us real capes, then they'll stop making butt capes, maybe. Or maybe someone just really likes butt capes, like they are like, butt capes, I'm gonna draw more art of those, and then put them in the game. And that may be what's happening. Maybe someone has a butt cape fetish. We don't know. Hopefully not.
More like a
On that
lobster
note.
fetish.
Like a... I think actually
Lobster
just...
fetish.
Lobster? I don't... Oh, because it looked like a
Like
lobster
big butts
tail. I get that now, okay. Takes me a few seconds, I'm pretty slow. So, moving on though, we're gonna go and move on to question of the week. That was an incredible linking sentence. Yes, I know. Just incredible segues. Anyways, oh wait, were you just pointing at me, or was that a thumbs up? Because that I couldn't tell. Was that a thumb?
No, thumbs up.
I don't know.
It was a thumb.
Oh, okay, awesome. Anyways, we're gonna move on to question of the week, or more specifically, just the random question I threw on Twitter early this afternoon, and several people responded to. I'm gonna ask you guys first, and then we're gonna read our Twitter responses. So the question was, what zone would you adopt/live in? I actually had used some clarification there, if you could, in Guild Wars 2.
Oh, that changes.
I don't
my
even have a
answer.
zone. I have a specific spot.
You can use
Yeah, okay,
adopt
Evie,
as
yeah.
like we adopt a highway to make it prettier or something like that. Evie, go.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
The hot springs outside of Holbrook.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
I should have
Not in the
known.
least.
I should have known. Like, you've said this many times. Like, this should not have been a surprise, but it was.
There's like a sign with blinking lights over it that says Evie's spot.
Evie's.
I know, I've seen it as
Yep,
I go past.
mhm.
It's a point of interest, actually.
Yep. Oh yeah. That's what it's called, Evie's Hot Springs, right?
Yeah.
Washed, where would you go?
Metrica Province.
Ah. Very cool. Why would you go there?
Personally, just because I'm completely in love with the Asura. They are fantastic, and I like the way that the zone is designed, where you're constantly fighting Skrit and wasps, because they're bigger than you, so you have to. They're of course going to be aggressive to you by default. So I don't know. I just really like the overall flow of the zone. You got the great Thermonova reactor. You got the Inquest lab in the upper right hand corner. That's really difficult to get into because the entrance is on the other side of the map. And
Cool.
I like it.
Kate, how about yourself?
In a very controversial move, I want to live in Malkor's Leap. I think Orr has some really, yeah. Well, because of that mostly. There's a warm fuzzy in my heart place where like my goal. I'm pretty sure I've said this on the show before, but my goal coming into Guild Wars 2 was to ding 80 in Orr, and I had made it through Straits of Devastation and walked into Malkor's Leap. I was standing on the Hope Falls Bridge with the waterfall coming down, and I got the point of interest, dinged 80, and Malkor went, Dwayne! And there's this, like, there's this moment for me that was created in that zone that I'll just carry with me forever. Yeah, but I think, as a zone, Melkor's has some interesting ability to progress forward. There's been the argument that they want to leave it for timelines or whatever, but I think you could leave Cursed Shore infected with Zaitan stuff and be like, yep, it's just corrupted. We don't know how to deal with that yet. It's got Zaitan all over it. There's scales, it's like cat fur. We don't know what to do. But,
Magic is just go bleh.
yeah, it's just everywhere, like cat hair. That's how I imagine all the dragons to be.
Dragons are just really angry cats.
Yes. Black and white cats, so they get fur on everything, and you can't win. There's no winning. I have black and white cats. I know how this works. Yeah, Melkor's Leap, not so much. There's not as much dragon influence in there, and now that the Pact have, set up operations in there, there's opportunities for it to move forward. Like plants to come back. Ancient artifacts to be found and fought over. The humans might want to reclaim their ancient homeland, and the Charles are like, nope, we blew that shit up.
There is an interesting thing that they've been adding to that. When they redid all of the boss fights in Orr, they actually changed the effects so that there would be some level of recovery in that area. They added plants to Orr. Mm-hmm. When you defeat the various dragon priests, or the corrupted priests. So if you go there, you'll notice it's kind of a background thing, but it is something that I noticed when they redid all that stuff and that came out. It was like, oh, hey, there's more plants here than there were before. That's interesting. I believe they also mentioned in the patch notes. So they clearly have put some thought into it, and I wouldn't be surprised that if we don't see it with these zones, if they don't add more zones, because we've only seen, about a third of Orr itself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see, first of all, going into the Aura instance and having like a zone option instead of going in and doing the dungeon. Like the dungeon's there, you can hit it, do stuff, but or you can go into the new zone of Aura and have that be like a recovering city covered in like plants and stuff with like recovering. That would be
And
very
dragon
cool.
bones?
With dragon
okay.
bones?
Have any of you seen Pacific Rim?
Nope.
Yes.
Part of it, they had the guy that would go in and steal stuff from the kaiju and like hack it away. I want there to be like an underground syndicate of Skrit or something. I don't know, people that steal the dragon.
That would be
parts.
awesome.
You're assuming that
Okay, you know what? There's a
Tequattle's
place
dead.
called Skritsburg. I just believe that the Skrits can do anything.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
They also have babies that are called Skrittons. This is a headcanon, but it's going to be a thing.
It's Scritons.
It is Skrittons.
I would like a Skritin for Christmas. Anyways,
Dude, I want a script mini pet for my Asura.
I would not be surprised if Tequattle's not dead, actually.
Tequattle.
Tequattle?
Sorry, not
Tequattle's all
Tequattle.
kinds of dead.
Zaitan.
Zaitan.
If Zaitan is not dead. First of all, Tequattle comes back. Second of all, Zaitan, which...
Tequattle coming back can still be explained with Zaitan being dead, though.
It's true.
Especially with him
Yeah.
being stronger.
It's true.
Basically him becoming the new dragon. The
Earlier-
dragon of death.
Well, Tequattle could leave that area and come back. Although canon is that Tequattle's dead.
Yeah,
We
'cause
saw that
Rock
in the
stole his
story.
tail. Yep.
Yeah.
So, there is that. And Rox had been carrying it around for a while. This was a really long time.
Yeah. that
Like,
sounds
I have this
awesome.
meat! Really? You didn't... That's disgusting. When a
Can I
char
share a
says
terrible
meat's
pun I heard on
disgusting...
Twitter?
What was the pun?
Earlier we were discussing this very topic for some reason on Twitter. It started with Sprockets, so I don't know how it ended up at Zaitan. But I said Zaitan's not dead in my heart, and Grybach said, so he's undead? Wah, wah, wah. Thanks, Grybach. I wish you could have seen my face when that happened, because I was in lecture reading Twitter, of course. College.
Bad
They didn't
cake.
have that back in my day.
Hey,
We
don't
had to pay
feel bad.
attention.
I did Underworld in most of my classes.
I've never done that. I've never played a game, but I do.
That's a horrible plan. Never do that ever.
Don't
Unless
do
you
it.
are,
I had a
like,
professor.
insanely good at school.
Completely off topic, but I had a professor that would let his certain students play WoW if they were Alliance.
Why would you do that?
That
First
is
of all,
awesome.
why would you make someone play Alliance?
Beautiful.
That's evil. That is the... That is...
Hey, come on now.
It's brilliant because no one
play
actually
Alliance.
wants to play Alliance because they're dumb.
I played
Sorry.
Alliance.
You guys played
Yeah,
Alliance?
same here.
I'm
For the
honest, I had-
Horde! For the Horde! Anyways. Moving on. So, my answer to the question.
What about you, Eric?
Timberline Falls. Love the zone. It's just a really nice zone, so I'm going to have to agree with Live Spartan here. It's just... It's not really high stress. I really like the starter human zones. Queensdale is really nice without the champ train. And,
That's a whole other discussion.
yeah. So Timberline Falls is just really low-key. There's not, like, massive war going on. You can just sort of go in there, relax, and enjoy the zone. I mean, and there's a fun...
It's so pretty.
It's a really nice zone. I mean, it reminds me...
pre-searing.
Yeah. It reminds me of Alaska
Oh, no.
in,
don't
like,
do that. They'll nuke
the
it.
summer.
We all
So-
know what happened in post-searing.
So that is why I like it. If I could build a little cabin, if there was an instance for, like, a little cabin that you could build and, like, look out over the zone, yeah, I would buy gems to do that. Marionette,
You
player
know that
housing,
mountain
cough.
of a face?
Yes, that thing's
It's-
awesome!
I want to build a house inside one of the ears that pokes out.
What you could do is go up there and like find some way to set up like a bunch of art like crafting stations and stuff and just sort of move in there.
I will live next to you in the other ear, Evie, if we can put a water slide out the nose. Is that an acceptable compromise? Can we start a colony up there?
That sounds amazing. Okay, this is gonna happen. Relics of Orr has just adopted Timberline Falls.
I'd have to dig up a hot spring, though.
Well, yeah.
That's gotta
Okay.
happen.
We could
We'll
probably
make it
find
happen.
one for you.
have
The
some
Hylic Village, I
yeah.
think, has some opportunities for that. And you could probably find, actually, I think there's something fairly close in the Quaggan Village. Especially with all the baby Quaggan running around in circles in the jumping puzzle. Oh man, that's a fantastic
yeah, that's in
zone.
that zone too.
I know, there's so many good things in Timberline Falls. It's not like a high epic zone, and there's other zones that I like for like just the massive story and the fights and the events and stuff. Meattoberfest is amazing. Pro tip, go to Meattoberfest when you need to complete events, because they pop every 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But there we go, that is my favorite zone.
Nice.
And now community has responded. We asked you guys on Twitter. Feel free to follow us at Relics of Orr, because we do ask questions fairly regularly, at least once a week usually, about these sorts of things. So, Kate, what are some of the responses on Twitter that we've had about this?
I'm scrolling back to find them. Magnet Head wants to live in Blazeridge Steps
Why?
and make the brand react to events within, like, losing to the shadow equals a larger brand. Oh, I think this is before Eric clarified
That it was a
Oh, okay.
living
this
thing.
is where you want to live and what you want to do with it.
Okay.
Matt
Like, man, that's
Ninja
a
wanted to
fire
live-
there.
Yeah. Matt Ninja wanted to live in Lornar's Pass. Neo Nugget wants Metrica Province. There was a lot of Metrica. There were actually, I think, only 3 duplicates, and they were Lornar's Pass, Metrica Province, and what's the one in the north with the Kodan? That's name escapes me right now.
Frostgorge Sound.
Frostgorge
Frostgorge.
Sound, yeah.
They were the only ones with more than one. Everyone else had a unique answer, which I thought was really cool.
Even Scarlet Briar had a unique answer when she responded.
Yeah, Scarlet Briar tweeted us and said
Huh.
she wants to all of them.
Well,
That was the tweet, all of them.
She's a little bit greedy.
yeah.
At which point there was some passive-aggressive statements by various other people on Twitter saying to Scarlet that, oh, we're gonna get you. It's on.
Yep.
Can't wait to kill her.
Oh, somebody said about Maelstrom, too.
That's a cool zone.
Naveen wants to take over Logan Thackeray's headquarters for Wiggles eyebrows reasons. Which I
For
don't
science?
know. Yeah, for science.
By Chickawawa?
No, science.
Oh,
spelled it
Science.
wrong.
For science.
It's for brown chickens and brown cows.
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then Switch CSI also said that they would be either Snowden Drifts or Lonar's Pass. Nice environment. Those are, the Norn areas have some really just beautiful environments.
The music is so chill. I remember,
Yeah.
coming into Wayfarers and being like, oh, yes. So calm, so nice. There's babbling brooks and snow and stuff like it's just like home, except not cold.
It's true, and that is the beauty of it, because I can go there and be like, oh, I remember, this reminds me of Alaska, except it's not 40 below. So wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I understand what that's like now.
yes,
I know
yes.
that whole 2 inches. Woo.
Evie's like, oh, that polar vortex, it's destroying me. It's so cold. So thank you guys for answering us on Twitter. We always look forward to hearing back from you guys. And now we are going to move on to the section where we tell you guys about what's coming up in the various community events. Kate, what exactly is this section called?
This section is Cast the podcast within the podcast. The podcast about the cast of other podcasts in the style of casts of other podcasts. This week, there's a new episode of Ready Up on Friday, so if that's something you're interested in, PvP, they are introducing a World vs. World section. Definitely check that out if World vs. World is your thing. Congrats to Desolation, the European server, on their world first worm kill. Great job, everyone. I think it may be the only one. I haven't heard of one since.
Yep,
Anyone
it's the only one I
confirm?
think so far.
Yep, so congrats to you guys. They got minis of a severed head, which is awesome. If you're
Do
on
they just
Adventure
flop
Freaks.
around, or
Yeah, it's like, have you seen, no, you haven't seen it because you're on Anvil Rock, right? If you take down one of the worms, the head actually gets severed, and it
Wow.
becomes its own creature and hops around, and you have to drop all 3 of them at once to
That's
finish
fantastic.
the event. So
That's awesome.
yeah, they got minis of the worm head. If you're on Northern Shiver Peaks, or you want to come and visit Northern Shiver Peaks, what they're doing is a sort of training program where we're rotating the worm that we down and continuously downing that worm every time, so that, you know, one of the 3 worms every time, so that players learn the fight, and then we're going to try and do it for good. So if you need achievements, if you just want to see the worms get taken down, come over to Northern Shiver Peaks. We'll help you out. Yesterday was #Community Manager Appreciation Day. So if you see Tillian or Naveen, give them a hug for all of the wonderful, fabulous work that they do, or any of the Marionettes community devs. I didn't say anything on Twitter, but we're very appreciative for all of you putting up with our nonsense and supporting us. Go you guys. Festival is rolling out. If you're not familiar with this event, it's a real-life Guild Wars 2 event where they gather fan sites and players and bring them together to play Guild Wars 2 together. So this is going on a European basis this year. I'll have more information for you in the future, but I'm just giving kind of a cursory look at it. If you want more information, absolutely contact me. We'll get in touch. Greece, Spain, Romania, and France are currently participating this year, but they're looking to, again, build out and, you know, get more people involved next year. So if that's something you're interested in, absolutely contact me. I will get you in touch with the right people. This Saturday at 1 a.m. Pacific, Shongaqu, Melchior, and Greibach will be having a special show with Lewis from Guild Wars 2 Hub Persistent World on Twitter, I believe. So definitely check that out. It's going to be an irregular show, but we'll put it on the Twitter and the stuff. We will let you know when that's going to happen.
And that's 1 p.m., not
Right.
a.m., right?
Yes.
Did I say a.m.? Yeah, it's 1 p.m. Pacific
Just making sure.
this Saturday. So look forward to that. That's going to be an episode. I believe Greibach was calling it the premiere collection of Guild Wars 2 windbags. Lovingly.
This should be exciting. I'm
We're
looking
very
forward to it.
excited. It's going to be an interesting episode for sure.
We will definitely tweet that out. Speaking of tweeting, you can follow us, like I've said, at Relics of Orr. I am also at Shongaqu, which I pretty much only do personal tweets from, so if you follow at Shongaqu, you might get things and be like, this is not what I expected from Relics of Orr, and that's because it's me, not Relics of Orr. Also, you can follow Kate at Damn Violas, the cursed instrument that is larger than a violin, not smaller. It is not higher pitched, it actually has a deeper and richer sound than a violin, and as such is why she selected said instrument. You can follow Evie at Venus on Twitter, and you can follow Washed at Washed in Blood, and you can also follow the amazing posts that Washed is constantly posting. Well, not constantly, because he's not constantly doing it, but regularly
man.
posting. You
It's been
posted
pretty
like
regular
3.
lately.
Relicsoforr.com, we have news. Wash has been just putting tons of great stuff on. He put up the Dolyak Express, pretty much got it off the forums, put it on our site so that you guys can just read it in one place rather than being like, I don't know where this is. You don't have to go to the forums. You can avoid the forums. Do you know how much of a community service that
I'm
is?
saving your life.
Huge. It's massive. You don't have to read all of the posts around it. It's a wonderful thing. Anyways, that's definitely something to check out, and we look forward to seeing you guys there. If you do feel like going to forums that are not the Guild Wars 2 forums, we also have forums at relicsoforr.com. Kate moderates them, and usually she will get back to you if you post something there, if you have a question. We are not actively recruiting for Relics of Orr, but if you are interested in playing the game with us, we do have a regularly scheduled guild missions every Saturday, and you can actually see that on the calendar that we have on relicsoforr.com. with all of our various shows and that sort of thing, which I should probably put next Saturday's show on the calendar. We'll get around to that at some point. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and we hope to see you guys in-game. Bye!